Hey again, this is Jacqueline with Sound Body Wisdom. So today I thought I'd speak about my inner love posse, aka my inner tribe. This is a particular practice that I engage on this human journey, and it's a practice that offers me space and navigation through the fullness of all these worlds inside of me. Worlds being thoughts, emotions, inner and outer stimulus or energies that are moving through, basically everything that makes me human. So in this practice, in sound body wisdom, the two key elements I would say are awareness and learning to work with this inner tribe. And the inner tribe, it's like having all these different aspects of yourself or all these different parts. And imagine if you had this huge tribe inside of you, right? That it'd be composed of many different parts of you. So we live full lives and we accumulate these parts for a variety of reasons. So, as far as I can tell, most of us have many different aspects or parts to ourselves, and they can express themselves through emotions or thoughts or reactions or a lot of other processes. That each of us has our own unique buttons or triggers, a full range of these thoughts and emotions. So sometimes these thoughts and emotions are fleeting, and sometimes they persist or are chronic, and they can be the catalyst for sometimes, feeling less than in some way. They can be the pebble that starts a whole landslide of self-defeating thoughts or feelings. And even if it's not a landslide, even a chain of small feelings that can limit you from being present in this huge field of just love within yourself or brilliance within yourself. So this chain of events seems quite common for many of us as humans, and it can be more intense for some of us than others. That was a lot of words to basically say there seems to be a lot of times where we can beat ourselves up or feel bad. We have feelings of insecurity or anxiety, anger, etc., all these things. And I just feel like we should never beat ourselves up. I mean, we can have moments where we realize we fell short or moments where things bubble up in us. And doing this work with the inner tribe or through our awareness, but being proactive, it's just a moment of energy, this thought of feeling bad. It doesn't then sort of take root or get stuck. So that's what I'm interested in, how to work with these different metaphors or practices so we don't get stuck ever in a place of feeling bad or less than. That those are passing moments. So for me, in moments where I can feel sort of less than for any reason, I have this, like this inner love posse that basically comes running out, sort of tackles me gently and can roll around on the ground with me sort of in a puppy pile, or even tickle me sometimes, or just they don't let me get stuck in the bad feeling. They literally intervene and bring me back to the present moment. So at that point, when that happens, I just feel nothing but joy and sort of connected to myself. It sort of clears the slate, so to speak, and it brings everything back to center. So my center, my balance of not needing to be better than anything or better than anyone, and also not feeling lesser than anything or anyone. So a balance of feeling my unique presence in this wild mystery called life and not being attached to any ideas or conditioning or stories. So I can notice all of them, but just not be attached to any of them. So again, a balance of feeling my unique presence in this wild mystery called life and not being attached to these ideas or comparisons or conditionings. So my inner love posse, it was something that came in sort of a desperate moment, a time when many years ago I felt overwhelmed by the inner chatter and all the thoughts. And I discovered I could basically call a timeout with all these parts. Just be like, hey, we're taking a timeout. And at that time, I had a lot of parts that were really loud and I hadn't ever given them attention. I had a very different way of relating to them, and I didn't have a relationship. It was basically trying to shut them up. So calling a timeout wasn't about shutting them up. It was realizing that I had to learn to get to know them and work with them. And so calling a timeout was asking them if we could have a moment of silence and making a promise to them that I was going to show up to connect with them. Now, when the inner love posse, it's sort of, it knows when to come out. It's almost, when I feel a certain way, I've created a new habit so that this posse knows when to come and just embrace me and give me love. Like I've set a whole other pattern in place. I mean, the brain is a wild and pretty talented entity. And when it comes to the unconscious and all the many layers and functions, it's hard to say what is me, quote unquote, when you really dive in there. And that's without addressing this universe of the spirit and so many other things that get mixed in. So most things feel like leaps of imagination to me. Does the inner love posse really exist? Well, it feels real. What makes something real? I mean, do they have their own volition? Well, does the answer really matter, I guess? So the experience, no matter how I pick it apart and compartmentalize, the experience is really what brings me to center and this field of love and brilliance inside me. And that's where I want to learn, and that's where I want to grow. So discovering that there was a place where I could actually engage these different voices and parts and show up with a curiosity and an interest about them and develop a relationship with them so that there was trust and I could call a timeout, and that was not about negating them or pushing them away. It was just about creating a boundary for sanity and for longevity and health. And I'll be honest, it took a couple years to really develop the relationships I would learn to have with these parts inside of me. And again, parts are just aspects of the self. It could be, a part could represent one single experience in your life, or sort of a history of conditioning, or a phase in your life, or a time period. I don't think it needs to be defined. And no, when I see this inner posse or this inner tribe, it's not about seeing faces and ages. It's a sense, it's a presence, it's an energy, right? So when you potentially have some sort of negating thought or less than behavior, you don't necessarily see a physical representation of it. You feel it manifesting inside with your emotions or your thoughts or how you feel in your body. So it became noticing all those thoughts and feelings and sensations in my body and feeling like there were so many of them. So hence that it's a posse or a tribe. So I don't need to fully understand it. It's not about logic. It's about using a metaphor through my imagination that helps me engage with these energies, these aspects of myself, and find a way to create more of a sense of peace and balance, as opposed to stress or anxiety or anything that makes me feel less than or creates limitation or puts my health out of balance. So this is just a little bit of a glimpse on this metaphor, and I'm going to explore it more. So stay in touch through writing to me and asking questions or curiosities, and I'll keep expanding on it. Again, this is Jacqueline with Sound Body Wisdom. Thanks for spending this time with me.